Hey guys, so today I just wanted to pop in to update you guys on how my reading rush TBR went. Long story short, didn't go too well. I didn't read a lot of the books on the TBR, but I did read a lot of books. So it's just because it was my birthday, and so my fiance got me a bunch of books, and then he wanted me to read the books that he got me. So I ended up reading those books, and also I wanted to read them. It'd be nice. Yeah, I will just get into the books I did read during my reading rush. Sort of manipulated things, so it kind of still fits everything, all the points. So I did read. So it still kind of fits all the points. Yeah, I will just get straight into the books that I did read, and I'll kind of explain to you. So the first book I read was American Gods. This book is by Neil Gaiman. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. It is basically about a guy. He gets out of jail, and then this other man approaches him and offers him a job. And at first he doesn't want to take the job, but then he realizes that his wife is dead, and so having nothing else to go back to after jail, he decides to take the job, and it basically introduces you to all these different characters that may or may not be gods. Yeah, it was a really interesting book. I'm kind of pushing it to satisfy my read books of the genre you want to read more of. Kind of horror, I don't know. It definitely had that sort of aspect to it. It definitely had like a dark, almost spooky aspect to it. There were like ghosts and demons and gods and stuff like that. Yeah, so I found it really interesting. I read the whole book while we were away, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I would probably rate it. It's not really my genre that I usually read, but if I had to rate it, I would probably rate it like 4 to 5 stars. It did feel kind of slow in some areas, but also it does feel like a lot of stuff happened. You really do get to explore the character. So yeah, I really liked it. The next book that I read was The Silence of the Girls. Kind of using this to satisfy the category, where it starts with the word the, and it also takes place on a different continent. So using it to satisfy those two. Yeah, I really liked it. It is about basically it's about Achilles' lover during the Trojan War, who was a queen of a different place. She was the queen of a different kingdom before before the Greeks came and destroyed her kingdom and took her as hostage and forced her to be basically a concubine to Achilles. So it's basically her story. So it's really interesting because it kind of takes the story of like the epic Trojan War and explores it from the point of view of the girls and women, but a lot of them were girls that were taken from these places. They were taken from these places and forced to be basically the lovers of these men. It's kind of reminded me of Circe. Yeah, it's kind of really interesting. And even though like the Trojan War and all that stuff is kind of like a did it happen, did it not happen, I found it really interesting because this is how wars happened back then. So regardless of what you think about if the Trojan War happened, if it didn't happen, and what the circumstances around it were, it is true that this is how the Romans, the Greeks, when they conquered a place, this is what they did. They would kill all the men. They would kill even children. They would kill women that were pregnant because they might be pregnant with boys. And then they would take all the women, and the women that were desirable were given to the men. And the women that weren't desirable were basically forced to scrounge around. And yeah, I just found it really interesting. The next book, I actually did read A Quarterfield Roses. Funnily enough, my mother-in-law gave this to me as a gift, even though I had it on my Kindle. But I opened the book, and this is the book she got me, and I was like, oh, that's so funny. I read this book. I did like it. If it was a standalone novel, I think I would like it a lot more. I actually I read this expecting not to like it, which isn't the way you should read a book, but I expected not to like it. She's one of my favorite booktubers, is Read with Cindy, and like I find her reviews of it hilarious. So I really expected not to like it, but I did kind of like it. If it was a standalone book, I think I would like it more. But just the fact that I know, what's his name? Oh, Rhysand. The the fact that I know Rhysand becomes a love interest of hers, the fact that I know Rhysand becomes a love interest of hers is what kind of ruins the book for me, because he was just straight up abusive. I don't know how else to call what he was, but I know in the next book they say that that Tamlin, is it Tamlin? Yeah. That Tamlin becomes abusive, but in these books Tamlin just seemed like pretty not abusive. I mean, he bit her, but she kind of liked that. This guy is like getting her super drunk every night, touching her inappropriately, forcing her to dance for him and everyone else. So I know he's trying to like incite Lucian to do things. But I just wasn't a fan. I really liked the book as a standalone, more than I thought I would. I'd probably give it like a 3.5, probably 3.5 stars, because I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. It was a really interesting story. I liked the different like background, different courts. That was really interesting. But it just kills me that Rhysand is going to become a love interest because of how gross his behavior was in this book, and even saying things like, I'm not going to have my way with you, but that's only because I know that Tamlin would kill me. It's like, oh, that's really gross. Yeah. So that's how I felt about this book. If it was a standalone, I'd love it. Will I read the next books? Probably, because I kind of want to see how they turn Rhysand's character around. So that is that one. And then finally, I did get to the Hunger Games. I actually read the first 2 Hunger Games books. I had a lot of free time. I was literally just sitting and reading all day. I read the first 2. There was... Oh, yeah. Really loved them. I have always been a fan of the movies, and so I predicted I'd be a fan of the books, and so it was really interesting to read these and kind of compare them to the movies. After I finish reading the books, I'm definitely going to watch the movies again. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I definitely like what I like about the books more than I like about the movies. I feel like it gives more depth to Peeta's character in the books than it does in the movies, and also just being able to hear inside Katniss's head gives her character more depth, because in the movies she's always so like stone-faced, which is how she is in the books, but in the books at least we get to see what's going on inside her head, where I feel like we don't get as much of that in the movies, because it's hard to display what someone's thinking in their head. So yeah, I really like the books. I would probably give them 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed them for what they are. Yeah, that is basically how my reading rush went. I know I didn't read a lot of the books I said I was going to read, but I will again say this is, I'm just reading what I want to read. I don't want to force myself to read something I don't want to read at the time. I'm kind of a mood reader, so yeah, I will definitely get to those other books that I mentioned. What were the other books? The Black Prism, and I think The Sun Also Rises. Something like that. There were 2 books that I said I was going to read that I have not read, and I'm definitely going to get to those, but I just wanted to read things that I enjoyed, rather than trying to force myself to read things that I wasn't in the mood to read. So yeah. That is the end of my Reading Rush TBR. Thank you guys for watching. Come back next time. I should have another video out, probably in the next couple of days. I'm trying to come up with a schedule. I haven't really ironed out a schedule yet. But what's today? Today is Wednesday, I think? No, today's Thursday. I'll probably upload this video on Friday. So I'll probably try to do like Friday, Monday, Wednesday, or something like that. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's probably what I'll try to do. But yeah, we will see. I am trying to come up with a schedule so I know I can have like 3 videos a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and stick to that so you guys know when to expect videos. That is pretty much all I have to say. Have a nice day. Adios.